All right. Hello, everybody. What's going on? What's up? What's up? Listen, my name is Jessica M. Harris here, and we are back with another broadcast, you guys. I'm just going to y'all know I got to do sound checks. I don't know. I enjoy doing sound checks because sound checks let me know it's actually working. But yes, for those of you who don't know, I am Jessica M. Harris. I'm a transformation coach for faith-driven women in Christ who are ready to amplify their voices and begin to redefine themselves in the process. That being said, I'm really pumped and really excited about today because I really wanted to just dive in to the conversation and let's see. Y'all already knew I needed to hear myself. But yes, I'm really pumped and very excited though, because I really wanted to just have an opportunity where we can talk about creativity really just being like the lifeline and really allowing it to be able to just help you through whatever it is that you're going through. In the bio section, y'all see there, I said it, God has allowed creativity to be an outlet for me, especially when it came to any type of unfortunate situation or circumstance that happened in my life, whether it was me losing my friend at a young age, my relationship ending, and anything like that in between. And the reason why I'm bringing this conversation up, one, yes, y'all already know I have a course, Memoir to Media Impact, but that's not just the reason why I'm bringing this up. I'm bringing this up because all too often I hear people coming to me, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's online, in person, and this is like over the years as a whole, where they're telling me, y'all, I got this big story, I really want to talk about it, but something's preventing them from doing it. Or they're in the midst of their situation right now, and they're feeling like this situation is so big and so massive that they don't have the courage sometimes to actually get through it. And I want you to begin looking at the situation from a perspective of, okay, God, I know that this is massive right here, but what can I do to begin using my creative flow in the midst of that? And here's the example that I wanted to give y'all. When I was in 11th grade, one of my friends had died. He got murdered on his porch. He got murdered, he got shot in the head. And when that happened, like I'm 17, my mind, life was just like, get going, right? Like you're going, you're pushing, you're in high school and things are going smooth. But when he passed away from that situation, for me at that time, I used to write poems. I used to write books. I write everything in class. I started to lose my desire for creativity. And it was because my emotions was wrapped up in losing my friend at that time. When that thing happened to me, everything started everything started coming at me. Depression started coming, this started coming, that started coming. And my life literally started to spiral out of control. And some of you may be feeling like your life is spiraling out of control right now, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's at home with your kids, whether it's at your job, whatever the case may be. And you may be trying to figure out like, okay, God, where are you in the midst of this? And that's how I was feeling at that time. And again, I have other examples and testimonies, but I'm using that example there because sometimes you have to understand that when you're going through something, your creative outlets can be used in a multitude of ways. When I went through that situation with losing my friends, I sat there and had the opportunity to sit there and tap back into poetry. I didn't realize it was a way for me to continue going in the things of which the Lord was placing upon my heart to do, but that's what I did. So I continued to tap into that reservoir. I continued to tap into that source. And I did that simply by going in to a conversation that I had with teachers. Okay, we're gonna pause for a second here. The story that I wanted to highlight today was the story of me losing a friend. And I wanted to highlight that story because that story was from a traumatizing moment in my life. And I wanted to highlight that story because in the midst of me going through losing him and spiraling out of control and not wanting to really live life anymore. And I don't mean being suicidal. I just mean like I didn't see the point of it. I just didn't get it. It just didn't make sense anymore to me. And the reason being was because everything that I thought in my natural mind of how the world should work and how things should be and how I should feel safe, it felt like all of that had been impacted. It felt like everything that was around me was beginning to take hold of me. It felt like everything around me was causing me to feel as though I was swimming in the deep end and I couldn't feel my feet touching the floor any longer. It felt as though I was gasping for air and I was suffocating in a situation that no one understood. And I'm sharing this part with you because you may be in a situation today where you're feeling as though you're feeling stuck and you're feeling as though you're in a rut. You're feeling as though that everything that you're trying to do doesn't make any sense any longer. And you're trying to figure out why you're trying to get ways out of no ways and nothing is coming forth in the ways in which you want to. And creativity is the very thing that the Lord allowed me to be able to dive into in that time frame. When I was in high school, losing my friend, what saved me for real, was God allowing our opportunity to be at my door. I had the opportunity to dive into books. I had the opportunity to dive into an art program where there was other kids, other youth who looked just like me. Other youth who had been through similar situations, growing up in rough neighborhoods, living in the projects and X, Y, and Z. And because of those very areas and situations I was in, being in a community of other people who looked like me, who sounded like me, who talked like me, who have been where I was, it helped me get through my situation. That art program allowed me not only to dive in to painting and artworks and more, but it allowed me to be able to see that the frustrations of this world was being put off of me onto something else. The Lord used it. The example that the Lord has given me even now was when I was in Texas the first time around. When I was in Texas the first time around and I was looking at God like, God, where are we supposed to stay? And I was bouncing from place to place, from Airbnb to Airbnb. And they were today. Because then there was a point where my money ran funny. There was a point where my money ran so low that I didn't have any place to go but to sleep in my car. And I remember that same night before I had to sleep in my car, I looked at God and was like, God, where are we to go? And instead of God giving me a strategy of where to go, he allowed me to sit there at a Starbucks creating a course. I used my time and I used my energy to make a course in that aspect in that time. He allowed creativity to be an outlet instead of my mind being focused on what I was going to do with that day and what I was going to do with the funds. He allowed me an opportunity to be able to just push through. And I'm sharing that with you even now because although your situation may be looking funny, although your situation may be looking weird, although your situation may not even make sense right now on this day, I want you to be able to push through. So if God is pressing it upon your heart in this hour to start up a business and you're looking like, God, but we ain't even got the funds for the lights, listen, it doesn't even matter. Only on the account that if you start up that business is probably going to be the very source that he's going to utilize for you. And then being obedient to what it is that he is asking you to do is going to put you in the rooms and the spaces and places of those who he then will connect you to. Being in a mindset where everything in front of you is taking over, I get it. Trust me, I get it. I get it more than you realize. But understanding that creativity has always been the lifeline that he would throw my way. And every single situation where things seem to be as though my back was against the wall, he would either tell me to write, he'll tell me to draw, he would tell me to paint. Because in the midst of me doing those things, I knew then that it wasn't too late, that there was something more that he wanted to do with me. It was in those time frames where the oil that he put inside of me wasn't oil that was spoiled, but it was a fresh batch. It was a fresh wind that was getting ready to come over me. It was a fresh idea that he was getting ready to allow me to embark on. It was a new adventure that he was taking me through. He was allowing me in a journey to be able to experience that there was more things inside of me than just what I was used to. See, sometimes we have to allow ourselves to get into uncomfortable situations. I'm not saying your situation got to be that dire, but I am saying that sometimes there are things that take place that the Lord would then use, and he uses that season to be able to produce better fruits. He tells us in his word that he allows the branches to grow, to them trim those branches so you can bear more fruits. Sometimes what you think is a dire situation or your back is against the wall and you're looking like, God, but what am I supposed to do? And he's looking at you, just do what I've asked you to do. Because that very fruit of what you're producing is going to be the sweetest thing ever to come forth. There's a book that I read, and in the book it said that oranges are best made when it's super cold weather. That the weather being super cold actually makes the oranges taste sweeter. It actually redefines the orange taste. Because of what it's enduring during the harsh winter. Its harsh season produces the better item. Sometimes you have to understand that what the Lord is trying to get you to is allowing you to go through this thing even now where you are, so the creativity can begin to flush through you. Because when it flushes through you, it's flushing through you as though it's raw honey, as though it's just a rawness. That rawness is going to change and shift things. It's that rawness that he's building out right now in this hour and in this season with you that is far different than what other people are trying to produce. See, you can have a course on business and they can have a course on business too. And you'll be looking at God like, God, but what separates me? And the difference is the season in which yours was produced in. The difference is the taste of which is coming out of you. The difference is the aroma that it begins to produce. So I pray in this hour on this day that you would allow the aroma of your situation, that you would allow the aroma of what you're going through, that you would allow the aroma of whatever it is that is in front of you to be the very thing that pushes you towards the purpose, that pushes you towards keep going, that pushes you towards the very things of which the Lord has placed inside of your hands. You see, you already already are gifted. You're already talented. You already have things inside of you today that the Lord wants to come out of you. He wants to push that thing through to be able to produce the fruit fully. If you think about olives and the oils that it produces today, in order for the olives to be able to produce the oil of which it has inside of it, it has to get crushed. Not so much in a sense where it becomes useless, nah. But in a way where you're able to redefine its purpose. You're redefining the use of it. You're finding another purpose for that very item. The olive didn't change, but the ways in which it is being used did. It's the same thing with you. He will gladly reuse you for a different purpose, for a different thing in a different season, no matter what it looks like. You could be doing one thing today and have you doing something different tomorrow, all because of what it is that he placed inside of you. We are multifaceted beings. We are multifaceted creatures, creations of God. We aren't just made to do one thing and one thing only. We are created to do multiple things, many different things. And that thing may change from season to season. So in one season, where you're used to doing this one thing, God may have you shift and do something different in another. And it's not because he doesn't want you to still do the other thing, but he may have to show you that you are capable of doing more. You see, we serve a really big God, and oftentimes that God wants to bring forth bigger doors. But that bigger door can't get to us if we can't see them that we are even more worthy of it. If we can't even see if we are able even to get to it. But to be able to get to that open door, you're going to have to go through it, whatever the season is that you're in even now. To be able, so don't allow the season to crush you in such a way where you're not producing anything. Don't allow the season to crush you in a way where you're just allowing the thing to fall by the wayside. Don't allow the season you're in to just allow you to be able to keep going in cycles and circles and not allowing the thing to actually come forth. But instead, capture it. Capture that season that you're in. Capture whatever it is that you're going through. Capture that thing, whether it's in a blog, whether it's you writing, whether it's you creating, whether it's you in business, whether it's you in speaking. Whatever the case is that the Lord is asking you to do, capture that moment and allow that thing to birth through you. When the Lord allowed me to bring forth my first book, do you understand that book was written 3 years ago? 3 years ago, I wrote that book, but it's in this season that he is allowing other pieces of my life to come together to help me to form the things that tie to it. That book was created and that book rested. That book didn't do a lot of movement, but now it's allowing us to come into a position where it's going to be thrusted forward. There are things that the Lord will allow you to create in this season that may just rest for a little period because there's something else that he's still working inside of you. But as he begins to work through you with whatever else he's doing with you, do believe and understand that whatever you have worked on before with him prior, he's going to have you pick that thing back up and it's going to come forth bigger and greater and more massive than whatever you can ever imagined. So don't, what's the word? Don't despise the small beginnings of what you can see, or better yet, what you can't see just yet. But allow that creativity to continue to flow through you. You see, what I have learned personally from my experiences is that when I begin to tap in to the different creative the reservoirs of the creative flow, whether it's writing, drawing, whatever the case may be, he begins to kickstart that thing. I've had people ask me, well, when you get an idea and you're trying to write, but nothing's happening, what happens? What do? I do a few things. I pause, I stop, and I'm like, God, okay, where's your grace at, right? I pause, I stop, and I pray. I praise through it. And then depending on action, is this the thing that I'm supposed to be working on in this season and in this hour? There are times where I have wanted to do journals and make journals. And I was making journals left and right. But there was a season where that journal creation was made and then it stopped. There was a season when I was making planners and then it stopped. There was a season when I was writing books and then they paused. There was a season when God had me start up a community and then it paused. There was a season for everything of which the Lord had me do. Because each of those parts that I was working on was connected to something bigger. So he had me work on phase 1, then phase 2, then phase 3, then phase 4. So I'm saying all of this to understand that the Lord was doing that with me because there was building up to a bigger door. It's the same thing with you. As he begins to have you build up those pieces, you may just be building up one level of the foundation of your home. The next level is going to come forth and the next one after that and more. But you have to be willing to allow yourself to go through and to explore the new opportunities that the Lord will lay before you. There are new opportunities and new things for you to learn. Trust me, there are things that you didn't even think you probably had an interest in, but the Lord will gladly put on a supernatural wind upon you, allowing an opportunity to be able to go through it with ease. Allow yourself to be able to take on the new opportunities. There are things that I didn't even think I had an interest for. I didn't think I could do. I didn't listen for real. For real. I never knew how to create journals. I never knew how to create my own books. I didn't even know that I could edit books. But the Lord allowed me an opportunity that came my way, and someone said, "Hey, can you edit this for me?" And I was like, "I never really did that, but sure, but sure, why not, right?" But the Lord allowed that opportunity to come my way because he was trying to show me a gift that was already in me. He was trying to show me something that was already there. It's the same thing with you. When things come your way and you're looking like, I didn't even really thought I was ever interested in that thing, it was already purpose for you. Sometimes he has to get you into a position so you can begin to see the very things of which he needs you to see so you can walk into it openly to receive whatever new that he has for you. Sometimes that is positions and situations that don't seem favorable at first. So this would be because our focus can then be turned to where it needs to look. Because if we're just doing what we're used to doing and I'm over here focused on this thing here, I'm never going to see what's over there that he's trying to point me to. That's why I said that creativity was always a lifeline for me, because he always used creativity to be able to bring forth a door of which I needed, whether it was a door of this or a door of that, or a door of meeting people or a door of whatever the case may be. He always allowed it to birth something through. That door always came with a wind of something that he needed me to do each and every single time, even teaching all the pieces. He allowed all those things to come through at times that I didn't even think I was either worthy, or times that I didn't or didn't think that I was capable or able to do. But he showed me that I called you to this. So therefore, I've already purposed inside of you. So it's not a matter if you can do it. It's more so, will you do it? So will you take the opportunity even today, right now, to go forth in that creative flow and tap into that timidity and tap into the creative reservoir that he already has assigned to you, that he already has aligned for you, that he already has presented in front of you? Will you tap into that gifting? Will you tap into that area? Will you tap into that hobby that you think is nothing, that the Lord is trying to put a wind on? Will you stop trying to ignore it and go back to it and begin to really explore the opportunities of what the Lord will begin to do with it? See, sometimes we think that we're so gifted in certain areas that we won't even think twice about it. I was that person for a long time with certain things. I just did things naturally. They just came to me easily. So I never thought twice about making them into something until the Lord started pressing upon me like, yeah, I need you to really take this a little bit more seriously, because there's something here that I'm trying to bring through you. And if you don't bring it through, it's going to be a long time getting you to where you need to be. I'm just saying. So don't allow the creativity to be capsulated. Don't allow the creativity to be with a lid on it. Don't allow the creativity to be stunted because other people can't see what it is the Lord is doing with you. Don't allow your creativity to be something where other people have to be the ones who are steering you, but allow the Lord, to be the one who is guiding you in it, who is guiding you through it, who is getting you to that place of where you need to be with it. There's so much more that he wants to do with you. And we have to understand, because I've heard people say this a lot, that they don't see themselves as being created, that they as creative. They don't see themselves and they have to understand this concept. The Lord Almighty God is the ultimate creator. So therefore, by default, you are already creative. We have access to the creator. Therefore, we have access to a reservoir of his genius creativity. So that means that access is already there. You just have to be able to tap into it. It's not a means or a measure of you knowing how to draw or knowing how to paint and all these other things. No, there's like a million bazillion gazillion, whatever the word is, right? Ways of how to be creative. And because God is exactly who he is God. There is a plethora of ideas that never run out. That means no matter how big AI may get, God is still bigger, and he can still bring forth a spin that thing can't do. He can still bring forth a spin on you that someone else can't do. If you ever walked into a bread aisle, that's my favorite analogy. You walk into a bread aisle and how many do you see? A lot of bread. There's Sunbeam, there's Arnold, there's Arrowitz, there's a store brand, there's Panera brand inside there and everything else. But yet all of these bread brands are able to make money. Why? Because there's something different about that item that someone wants. Someone may want Wonder Bread. Other ones may want Sunbeam. Another one may want Arrowitz. Another one may want the more expensive ones. I can't think of the name, but it's the one with the muscle guy on it, right? And that bread is like $7 for this small loaf, but people still buy it, right? Why? Because of the value that they know that is on their brands. When you know that the Lord is the one who is the master, the creator of your brand, it doesn't matter what it looks like to the world, because you know the middle of the day, if the Lord called you to it, that creativity is going to flush through to the right people, and that's what's going to come your way. So allow the creativity of the Lord to be your lifeline in this hour. Allow him to be able to put you in spaces and rooms of which you didn't think you belonged in, because you probably don't. I don't know, but the Lord does. He knows. He knows exactly who you're supposed to be and who you're called to be and what you're going to do. So allow him to bring you forth into those very rooms. Allow him to do so with ease. Because when he does it, you know for sure, number one, it ain't got nothing to do with what you did, because it was God, right? It was his grace that allows you today to be able to move today, to move in those realms, to move in those spaces, to do whatever it is that he is calling you to do. But if you can't get past yourself, right? If you can't get past that situation, right? If you don't heal from some things, right? Then you're going to be stuck in a circle, in a cycle, not doing what it is that he has called you to. And hear me when I tell you, you could be going through some deep hurt right now. I get it. Listen, I get going through deep hurt. Trust me, I get it. I may not have been through everything that you have gone through. I don't know. But I know personally, for me speaking, if there are deep hurts and pains of which I have been through that have made me feel as though that I can't get to the next section of my life, hear me when I tell you, writing helps, drawing helps, painting helps. It doesn't matter if it's not about you trying to sell it. This concept there is allowing it to be the therapy of what you need, so the Lord can be able to birth through you what it is that he needs you to do. There were times where I have literally sat for a week when I was in Texas the first time around. I sat for an entire week and all I did was paint. I stayed at an Airbnb and I was painting all day long. Do you understand that was one of the most productive weeks I ever had? Because not only was I painting just to paint for myself, but he was allowing ideas to flush through my mind. Different ideas, bigger ideas that are inside of my journal right now of what it is that he's going to allow me to become and what to do with my life moving forward. Those were the type of ideas that he was beginning to flush through me. But see, he allowed that to come forth through creativity. It wasn't in the drawing, but he was allowing me to be able to remove the cap off of myself. And when I did that, I began to expand and more things started to come my way. Talk about having faith like a child. A child believes because they just believe. When a child is drawing, they believe that whatever they are drawing is as big as what they want it to be. There is no cap on them. There is no limit there. It is endless. It is an endless supply. It is a blank canvas. Hence the picture on the thumbnail, the blank canvas with the splattered of paint, because I believe by faith that the Lord is allowing an opportunity even today to be able to take the blank canvas of your life right now and create the very things of which you want to see take place in your life. If you would just allow the cap of creativity to come off of your mind even now, so you can begin to expand in the ways in which he wants you to. May you allow the creativity to truly begin flowing through you. Not stunted because of your mindset or the world's mindset, but going off of what it is that the Lord is saying that you can do. When the Lord says that you can dream again and you can believe again and you can do all these things again, he means it. He means that he will take you onto a journey that is far bigger than where you stand today, because he is able. Not that you are able per se, but that he is able to bring you there. You ain't got to be there today, but he will get you there if you just believe that it's able and possible to do. So remove the cap, remove the limits, allow him in and allow him to run through you. Allow that oil that he has inside of you to begin to produce in the ways in which it needs to be. Allow that oil to be able to come through in ways like never before. Allow that fresh aroma to be able to open up the doors of which is needed. And allow God to work through you. Allow him to work through you. Allow him to work through you. Because he wants to. And there's so much more. There's so much more. Hands down, period. Period. There is so much more. So I think that's it. I think we're done. Yes. All right. So that is it for today. I believe so. I'm not mistaken. For those of you who are curious about doing storytelling, though, I want to invite you to Memoir to Media Impact. That is in our description box below. You can go ahead and do so there. Also, if you want to go ahead and grab yourself a shirt, shop Blossom Anyway by Jess. It is also available as well. And yeah, peace and blessings to each and every one of you. I hope you remain creative in everything that you do. Bye for now.